Hi everyone, and welcome to episode number 23 of the Karen Knits podcast. My name is Karen, and I'm coming to you from South Central Pennsylvania, where I live, where I work, where I knit, and I get into all kinds of other crafty shenanigans. If you're a new viewer, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to check me out. I hope you like it, and I hope you stick around. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back again another week to see what kind of knitting and other shenanigans I've got up to. So we've got a nice overcast, kind of dreary, cloudy day here. It's hot, it's humid, not a fan of the heat. So you guys know I'm a Canadian living in the US, and I'm not used to the heat. I don't like the heat. But oh well, that's just my little bit of complaining. We are at, what's the date? Saturday, July 11th, 2020. And we're at episode number 23 of my podcast. So basically what I want to talk about today, I want to tell you I have no finished objects. I'll spend a little bit of time looking at two works in progress that I've got a good amount of work done on this past week. And then I want to talk about some acquisitions, some stash and some other goodies that have made it into my home this past week. Actually, one of the things I was hoping to talk about last week, I finished filming the podcast, I got the editing done, popped downstairs to check the mail, and it was there. So by the time I had started filming, though, the mailman wouldn't have been there yet. So it did arrive. So it's been sitting there for a week waiting for me to tell you all about it. So anyway, so I don't have any finished objects this week, but I want to spend a little bit of time talking about my works in progress. So two projects, I have three works in progress on the go. Two of them have, I'm sorry. I just El Kabonged the tripod. Ay. Anyway, so I have three works in progress, and one of them got ignored all week. The other two, I spent a lot of time working on the other two. I had Zoom meetings coming out my ears all week again. So the one benefit of Zoom meetings is that I'm able to spend a lot of time doing my knitting. They're actually not really meetings, they are virtual conferences that I'm attending. So I'm just basically sitting and watching the presentations and jotting down a couple notes here and there for things that I want to keep track of, and I want to do something, bits of information I want to do something with. But anyway, so my works in progress, the first one I have is my Stillness Shawl Mystery Knit Along. It's a pattern by Helen Stewart from The Curious Handmade, and clue number 3 was released on Thursday, and I was finished with clue number 3 by Friday evening. So I really spent a bit of time buzzing through that. It wasn't a huge clue, and it wasn't really complicated. There was a lot of nice, straightforward, easy work on it, relatively speaking, just a lot of stitches. So with this pattern, I am using, I didn't bring my yarn over. I'm using, the knitting needles I'm using are 4mm or US 6, and I'm using yarn that I dyed myself. I didn't bring the skeins of yarn or the balls of yarn over here, so you'll see the yarn. You've seen it last week, the week before, and you'll see it in the shawl itself. So this is a mystery knit along, so I will be putting a spoiler alert out there. So if you are still working on it, if you haven't started it yet and you want to join in and you want to keep it a mystery, I will put a little note, probably thereabouts, and let you know when it's safe to come back and watch again. So I will be showing this. So I finished the first 3 clues. And there's 2 more clues left to come out. Clues 4 and 5 will be coming out Thursday coming up and the following Thursday. So we're at the completion of clue number 3, the shawl is 59% done. So it's a significant amount of the shawl is already completed, although the upcoming rows are going to, I think the upcoming clues are going to be fewer rows, but the rows will be getting longer. So this is going to be more and more stitches to play around with. So if you do want to keep this a surprise, look away now. I'm going to show you where I'm at, and then what I'll do is I will come back again and let you know when it's safe to come back and look. So here's my progress on my stillness shawl. And there goes a motorcycle. So here's my progress so far to the end of clue number 3 on my shawl. So clue number 1 started with this little bit at the gray at the bottom, then it went through the 2 colors, the solid section. So clue number 1 was this portion here, this bit of lacy pattern, and this portion here. So clue number 1 seemed to be quite long. Clue number 2 was this lace section here plus up to here, these stripes. So from last week, I had, by the time I filmed on, the clue came out Thursday morning, by the time I filmed on Friday, I had only done this little bit here. Since then, I completed clue number 2, which went from the marker up to here. And then clue number 3 was relatively short. It was this portion here, from the dark to the light section. So it was just this portion here. So it was quite quick and easy to do. It's a really pretty little pattern on there, a little bit of lace. And this might give you a little bit better look at it. So a cute little detail in this portion. So if you were looking away, it's safe to look back again now. So I finished up clue number 2, and since the last time we talked to each other, I finished up clue number 2, and I started and finished clue number 3 this Thursday. So I've made a good amount of progress. I'm completely caught up with it again, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the next clue is like. So I have no idea which of the 3 colors we start with. The instructions told us to snip the last color that we were working with, so we'll be joining a different color. I don't know if it's my contrasty color, if it's going to be my gray, or if it's going to be the dark purple again. My guess is probably the gray, but we shall see. Nothing special in the glass today, just a glass of water. So that's my first work in progress. My second work in progress, since I finished clue number 2, I finished that on Sunday. So it's Sunday through Thursday morning, so the rest of Sunday, all day Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, on Monday to Wednesday during my conference viewing pleasure, I was able to work on my Tenya sweater. So Tenya is a pattern by Caitlin Hunter. I think everybody has knit this except for me, but late to the party. I don't care. I'm just gonna happily work on it now. I'm really enjoying it. For the Tenya sweater, I'm using Quince & Co. Turn. It's a fingering weight yarn, and it is in the colorway terracotta. I'm using 3.25 millimeter or US 3 needles for this, and I've made a lot of progress on this. I'm really, really happy with the progress I've made. I'm expecting that next week when I come back, I will also have a lot to show you on this one because it's straight stockinette, so I'm just knitting around in circles for the next, I have no idea how many rows and inches for quite a while. And I won't be getting my fourth clue on the stillness shawl until Thursday. So I have the weekend all the way through till Thursday morning, where I suspect I might only be working on my Tenya sweater. I might pick up my scrap gown. Again, I might I probably should try to add a few squares to that. But without further ado, here's where I am on my Tenya. So right now it just looks like a wrinkly ball or a wrinkly lump of fabric. But you can see from that marker down at the bottom, the stitch marker, or the progress marker, progress keeper, whatever the term is for it. I have gone from that point all the way up to here. So I have done a lot on this. I had done only a little bit of, let me fold this so I can point a little bit, hopefully better without poking myself in the eye with the knitting needle. So I had only done a little bit of the lace pattern by last week. I had just cast on and done a handful of rows. But I've finished the lace portion and now I'm happily working into the plain stockinette portion of it now. So this is coming along fantastically. Like I say, I've made a lot of progress on it. I'm really happy with how much I've done. And again, it was a good one to work on while I was watching the conference sessions. So I was able to happily knit, and the pattern wasn't too complicated that I was able to pay attention to the conference and follow along on the chart at the same time. I'm looking forward to this week where all of my knitting during I have another week worth of conference stuff. So thankfully I will be able to pay attention to the conference and just nothing but knit stitches on this one. If I pick up the scrap gown, my wrap, it'll have a little bit more. It'll have knit and purl stitches, but it's pretty mindless. So I'm expecting I'll have a lot more progress to show you guys next week as well. So that's it for my works in progress. Like I say, I honestly prefer to keep my works in progress down to a fairly low number. 2 or 3 is my happy place. Probably 2 is my happy place. And because I do find that I do tend to be a fairly monogamous knitter, and as you've seen, now that I've been busy working on Tenya and the stillness shawl, the scrap gown has been put aside and forgotten again. So it also doesn't help that it's getting warmer out, and I don't really like working with a big Horkin blanket on my lap and in front of me while it's quite warm for working on that. But on the flip side, I really want to have it available to use come winter time. So I'm gonna have to suck it up and start working on that, even in the heat of the summer. So the next thing I want to talk about is I can't call it stash acquisition, just my acquisitions for the past week. So the first thing I've done is I got an email on Tuesday, so the 7th of July. I got an email from the French supply company that they were having a sale. If you bought the field bag, you would get a stash bag thrown in. You could choose a stash bag and that would be free. So I have been on the fence wanting to buy a French supply company field bag for ages. We're talking probably 2 years or longer. I've really wanted one of these bags. I love them. I think they look fantastic, and I have really wanted one for a long time. I've been kind of setting aside a bit of money. Actually, I have a PayPal account where any of my patterns that I have on Ravelry that sell, the money goes into my PayPal account. So it's just extra money that I don't rely on, I don't depend on. If it turns up in my PayPal account, there's that little bit of fun money I have. So I tend to wait until that's accumulated up a little bit, and then I may splurge every once in a while and buy myself a treat. And so it's just this extra money that I have set aside. Well, not necessarily set aside, but it's just this extra money that's sitting there, and it's available for me to spend on things that I want for myself. And I'll let it build up for a while, and then I'll kind of go through and buy a handful of things and so on. But anyway, French Supply was having this sale, and I thought, I've been wanting one of these field bags for so long. I finally said, that's it. Now's the time. That was just the last little bit that was enough to kind of push me over the edge, and I decided it's time. I want it. Let's go for it. So I placed the order on Tuesday, the 7th of July, and it was here on the 9th, on Thursday, the 9th of July. So the turnaround from ordering to when it arrived through the post office from their location in Tennessee, I think is what I remember seeing on the package, to me was so quick. So I did do a quick little unboxing video on this channel, and it was I just did it on Thursday when it arrived. So I filmed myself opening the package to post here. So that is on my channel. I'll put the link for it down in the description box. If I remember, I'll try to put a little iCard up in the corner someplace if I remember to do that, and if I can figure out how to do that. So I ordered that. It came in this nice little, actually it just came in a really nice little canvas drawstring bag. So bonus, I have another small little bag I can use for goodies. The field bag, stash bag, they have 5 different sizes, ranging from the smallest, which is quite small, up to the size 5. What I was looking through, and what I really wanted was I thought the size 4 sounded like the perfect size for me. That was sold out. All the size 4 bags were gone, and they still had the 3 and under. I thought sounded a little bit too small. They sounded like they'd be more of a notions bag for me, and I didn't really think I would be able to get as much use out of them. So I opted for the size 5, which is the largest one. I don't recall the exact dimensions. I think it's something like 20 by 14 inches. I'll put the exact dimensions, I'll pop that down on the screen below. But I ordered it in this color cocoa. So it is, like I say, you're just gonna have a washed out brown screen for a while. But it's a large drawstring canvas bag. So I think it's a 20 by 14. And a little tag on it. Is that upside down? Yeah, that was upside down. So the tag. So that's the stash bag. That's the stash bag. And then I also ordered, what I wanted was the field bag. And I got it in blue. I love this thing. I absolutely love it. I love the color. Blue is probably one of my favorite colors. I do tend to opt for the blues and greens, some purples, but I do tend to really go for the jewel kind of colors, like these nice bright colors. So there she is, my blue Fields Fringe Supply field bag. You'd think I'd get the name straight after how many times have I said it? Anyway, so that's why I can't say just a stash acquisition. So my Tenya sweater is going to live in this bag. So that's who's going to live in here coming up now. So I didn't have it in there yet, but next week when I show you, I'll probably be pulling it out of that bag. So this is probably actually the first official real project bag that I bought. I have a few little tote bags that I've used here and there in the past. I also have been known to keep of all weird things, I've been known to keep some of my projects in the large Ziploc bags. I've kept them in plastic grocery bags. Some of them, the yarn that I'm using and have lined up for my my scrap can, most of that is in small plastic Rubbermaid totes. Although the skeins that I'm lining up and I'm ready to use on all of my Knit Picks palette yarns that I'm going to be using in the scrap can coming up, those are all in an old vintage knitting bag, one of those collapsible wood frame quilted knitting bags that's sitting in the living room. So that's where all the balls of yarn are kept right now. But I don't have you see so many podcasters that have all these beautiful project bags. Now I have one beautiful project bag. I do have a couple canvas tote bags that I've received for other things that I've turned into using as project bags, but that's basically my first real project bag that I bought. I do want to, I think I've talked about this in older podcasts. I do some sewing. I'd like to say in the past I was very proficient at sewing. I just haven't done an awful lot in recent years. But I do have some fabrics that I want to start playing around with, and I want to try making some of my own project bags. And I also want to try making perhaps some knitting needle holders, like the fabric rolls that you keep I want to do one for DPNs and see if I can find some ideas for making some cases to house all of my circular needles. I don't have a lot of straight needles. I don't use them that often, and I've tended to, most of the ones I do have, I actually have them in, of all things, I don't know where it is right now. I'll find it and I'll see if I remember to show it to you in another episode. It's an old Pringles potato chip tube, and I just put some pretty wrapping paper on it, and it houses all my knitting needles. So it works for me. So and it keeps everything contained in one spot. So that's good. But I really do want to start tinkering around with some more sewing. And I think this whole part maybe should have gone into the random stuff section. The other thing I do want to talk about is this is a stash acquisition, and I had mentioned it earlier today, is that I had placed an order with Holst for the yarn I wanted to use for the Damiaka Lopa flea cardigan sweater that I want to make next. I'm not going to cast it on now because then I'll be up to 4 work in progresses, and then my stash gown will never see any work. Once my stillness shawl is done, I suspect I'm going to cast on the Damiaka Lopa. But I did place the order for the yarn, And this, oops, as I said, I was hoping I could talk about this last week, but I didn't have the yarn yet. But it turned out that it was actually sitting downstairs in our mail area waiting for me while I was filming. So anyway, I saved it to show you this week. So I don't want to unpack it. Had I known, if I would have bought one more skein of yarn, had I known that they were just gonna, it would have fit there perfectly. But here is what I have. I'm not 100% sure which colors are going to go where on the sweater, but this one here, this light gray, I will mark down. What is this? Does this color have a label on it? Silver gray is this color here. And this is the color I'm going to use for the main body of my sweater. And I can't decide if I wanted to use the darker blue or the brighter blue for the cuffs or the trim. Basically the button bands, things like that. So I don't know if I want to use this one or this one. I needed 2 skeins for the size I need. And then I have other colors of blues. No, that's one more gray. I have a different blue, and then I also have 2 more grayish blue colors, a greenish kind of color, the yellowish, and the kind of rose kind of color. So I don't know for sure which colors I'm going to use. I also have a few. I ordered from Whole's Yarns once before, and I got a sweater's quantity of one color, so I might pull one of those. It's a blue again, so there's no surprise. I might pull that one out of that collection of yarns, and I might use that for the Demyaka Lopa. I'm not sure yet. I still have some time to decide. I won't be casting it on until the beginning of August anyway. So like I say, I want to finish the Stillness shawl, unless by some miracle, which I doubt, unless by some miracle in the next couple weeks I finish my Tenya sweater and that's completely done, or my scrap can is completely done. Not likely. I've got, I think, 108 squares left to do on that, so it's going to take me a little while. But until one of these other 3 works in progress are finished, I won't be casting on my Demyaka Lopa. I do also along the line want to cast on a boxy sweater. I think that's a Joji Locatelli pad. I think that's Joji Locatelli. I think. But I'm thinking I might want to cast that on also. So that's another pattern that's on my work in mind list. So we shall see. And what else? Kind of talked about what's going on in my life stuff scattered in here and there throughout the rest of the things I was talking about. So I have been, like I say, as part of my work, I have been doing a whole boatload of Zoom meetings. The majority, like I said, the majority of them have been professional development sessions where I'm learning to use different types of technologies, learning new ideas for teaching remotely or teaching classes in a hybrid fashion or teaching classes in a way that helps to engage students. So kind of professional development, things that will, we hope, help improve my teaching part of my job. The other big chunk of my time has been spent in Zoom meetings, in virtual conference sessions. And, there's a motorcycle rumbling out there. Wait till the light changes and they go. So he's moved farther along. It's just a noisy motorcycle. So the other bunch of sessions that I've been attending or Zoom meetings that I've been taking part in have been parts of a couple different virtual conferences that I've been going to or have been attending. One of them is a conference that would have been out on the West Coast in June, and because it was the in-person conference was canceled because of all this pandemic stuff going on, but they opted to switch the conference over and do it online. But in the process of doing that, instead of having the conference sessions all squeezed into 2 or 3.5 days, now what they've done is it's stretched out over, I think it's been like 6 or 7 weeks. So it has been a long haul with attending this conference and doing this conference. They usually have 2 or 3 sessions per day, several days each week. Next week they have sessions, or this week coming up, they have sessions on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Friday it's done. But then I went and signed up for another virtual conference that is a free conference that is running on Monday and Tuesday. And it goes from, I think Monday is from noon or 1 till 4 or 5. And Tuesday is from 9 till 1, I think, or 2. Can't remember if the last session starts at 1 or finishes at 1. So either which way, I'm going to have a good chunk of time on Monday and Tuesday for, I need to occupy myself with something, or else I'll just be so distracted sitting and staring at a computer screen for 4 or 5 hours. I need something to occupy myself, otherwise I won't be able to concentrate or focus or stay with it for that long. I'll be distracted, I'll be starting to do this or that or anything else. So at least if I'm knitting, I know my hands are occupied, I'm getting something done, and I'm able to focus and pay attention to the conference. So the following week, so far, zero Zoom meetings. And I'm so excited for that. I'll guarantee before this week is over, they'll probably have something, but I really don't think it's going to be every single day. So in that case, my knitting time is going to decrease a little bit because I will start focusing more on my research part of my job, where I'm spending so much time staring at a computer screen, I haven't been doing as much with the research side, so that once all the conference stuff this week coming up are done, then I'm looking forward to switching over and getting into doing a lot more focus on the research mode. So once I start doing that, there's going to be a lot of reading and typing and all of that going on. So I really will have a lot less time for knitting then. But I'm expecting that there's going to be a fair bit of progress to show you guys again next week, to show you what I've managed to accomplish in this week now. So I think I've been doing enough rambling with this. I'm probably getting into the half-hour range of nattering now, so that's probably enough. You probably don't want to listen to me ramble on too much longer than that. And there's really nothing else going on around here. Just same old quiet. And on a side note, I have not ordered any new yarn. I have not ordered any new project bags. I haven't done anything like that. So perhaps after this week coming up, with all my conference stuff is done, maybe I'll get some sewing done and see if I can create a project bag for myself, or a needle roll. Is that what they call them? Anyway, so stay tuned and see if in the next 2 episodes from now, if maybe I've done some sewing and made some stuff for myself. Alrighty, so I think that's about it. I don't know if I have anything much else I want to or need to tell you about. So thank you so much for watching. Take care, everyone, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye now.